Ever wondered what makes TV so powerful in Jamaica? Time to find out. Welcome to Global TV Group 358, where television meets innovation. We're not just about shows, we're about shaping society. In Jamaica, TV keeps you informed, connects diverse voices, and supports democracy. Imagine a Jamaica where broadcasters unite, sharing data and collaborating globally. That's us, a unified voice in the TV industry. Did you know TV advertising is still king? It drives website traffic, boosts brand equity, and powers integrated campaigns. Even in an age of digital, TV stands strong, resilient in tough times. Our Global TV Deck is your treasure trove of insights and data. With charts, graphs, and success stories, it's your guide to impactful TV advertising. Curious to learn more? Visit our website and see how Global TV Group 358 keeps television at the heart of entertainment in Jamaica. Get ready to binge watch the future.
Corruption is a vile disease. Corruption is a vile disease that sucks and drains the health out of something good. Corruption in society is an evil moral infection that keeps community in the state of perpetual sickness. Corruption is a moral virus. It's so potent, it leaves its host sick, lethargic, and unable to realize and accomplish all that a well person can. Where corruption thrives, poverty and not prosperity thrives. Wealth is grabbed into the greedy, grubby hands of those who get fat on the toil and labor of good people. Corruption benefits, only temporarily, those who participate in it. Everyone else is a victim of the theft, the deceit, the dishonesty, and the lies that corruption feeds on. You need to know that a corrupt person is stealing from you. Corruption is filthy work and despicable acts of treachery done under the table and behind closed doors. Corruption is a disgusting shame. Corruption keeps a nation back from true development and from progress. Wise investors steer clear of a corrupt environment. They would rather put their resources into a place where the playing field of opportunity is equal for all and not bent towards feeding the financial lust of corrupt, lying, cheating, thieving politicians and government officials. How many wonderful development projects have been lost because the investors didn't want to do business in a swamp of evil? When those great projects go to another nation or to some other place, we all lose. Believe me when I tell you that corruption steals from you, it steals from all of us. Corruption plunders the nation's wealth. Corrupt people compromise on truth, equity, and fairness, choosing instead to feed off the short-term benefits of crookedness, exploitation, and financial perversion. Corruption is not just a personal matter, it's a culture. It's a way of life, not just for individual people, but for companies, communities, governments, and nations. Corrupt nations, hiding behind large companies, will seek to invest in other weak nations in order to take over the assets of the nation that they've invested into. They will provide financial loans to a nation for the much-needed infrastructure, and they will do it with assets that they provide. They will sign contracts by lining the pockets of rotten government officials who participate in this kind of corruption and are then held hostage by their own deceit and greed. Corruption is nothing less than a form of theft and national robbery. A corrupt person steals from everyone in society.
Ghetto, run, keep going on, less process. For children of Israel who really love rights. So justify and I say watch a man around Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I should never hold thy peace. What wrong is going on? Hey, oh, we gotta bust down Babylon walls. Prepare and read the way. Prepare and read the way for your people. Let's go. Fight down war of crime. Fight fight down. Me say Rastafari, war and cry, and do the righteousness. Hey, we love Jah, and we love Jah, and we love Jah,
Rastafari, save all people.
hey, we love Jah, we love Jah, we love Jah,
Rastafari, preserve all people.
Put time away again. Listen,
Yeah!
so just as I say, watch your man, I run Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I should never hold thy peace, but we penalize. Hey, oh, night. We gonna bust down Babylon gates. Prepare the way. Prepare the way for Jah Rastafari. Fight down war and cry.
Fight down war and cry.
Rastafari, war and cry, and build up righteousness. And we love Jah, and we love Jah, and we love Jah,
Rastafari, preserve all.
and we love Jah, me love Jah, me love Jah,
Rastafari, preserve all.
me love Jah, Jah Rastafari, Jah. Yeah, the next song is going to be the last song for tonight, and then DJ Twink.
When suffering comes knocking at your door and you say, there is no seat for you, suffering will then turn around and say to you, not to worry. I have bought my own stool with me. Probably not the one that George Wright would use, you see. To quote Professor Chinua Achebe, the famous Nigerian novelist and writer, we go to bed with suffering. We wake with it. We sleep with it. We dine with it. It is the effects of the multiple deaths in our healthcare. It is the effect of billions embezzled from public purse. It is also the effects of the seasoned silence of suffering in our country. Things, as Professor Chinua Achebe says, is falling apart. Good evening and welcome to Global TV. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Monday, the 20-so-and-so, January done already. And we know February will fly like a young filly, as February always does. To my community of party and all my family members, platform moderators, membership holders, viewers, subscribers, commenters, and trolls, good evening and welcome to organized theft, criminals in high places. Good evening, everyone. How do? Like and share the live for us, please. Bevan Brown, Debbie Jervis TV, Wagwan, good evening. Laverne, Arlene Scott, good evening. Miranda Roddick, Michael Nepper, Arthur Robinson, Elga Fletcher, Opal Watson. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. There is an article I may want to read for you. I'm not so into the ready this evening, but this is to do with the IC Beresford keeps talking from the other day. Because the Gleaner editorial wrote an article in relation to what Craig Beresford says. What was that headline again? Let me just quickly pull back that headline to tell you what that headline says. And then there is another article. I probably want to brush through it for you before we go on to the healthcare and the gang of thieves that we are about tonight. Because them And them around the top raid. And them are the big raiders in our government, you know. And them are grab the bag and run off with it. So we have to focus on the major thieves. And you know, all of the major thieves at the moment, no, it's not this one. All of the major thieves at the moment have very powerful position over plenty of financial resources to steal. Wouldn't you agree with that? All of these thieves at the moment, there's a lot of resources for poor people, for suffering Jamaicans running through their hands. You see the bungalow down at Westmoreland for the solidarity money? I want to also pull back tonight. Yes, the article, the first article was, you can't say you want a strong commission and then at the end of the day, if you have a disagreement, you seek to undermine the commission. That was one of the first article put out by the Gleaner in relation to Craig Beresford, speaking up on the regularization of the attack on the Integrity Commission or the use of the courts to tactically block the anti-corruption body in our country from carrying out their duties. Evan, how you do? So let's quickly mumble over this article from Beresford. What the topic says. Beresford, premature court intervention undermines anti-corruption probe. Meaning these court cases are at best ill thought out or at worst a tactical move to undermine the investigation against corrupt politicians and public officials. The executive director of the Integrity Commission, Craig Beresford, said the anti-corruption agency is very concerned about the growing practice of state entity taking the commission to court to halt its investigation. In an interview with the Sunday Gleaner, Beresford made it clear that he understands and appreciates the fact that government agencies have a right, should they desire to seek recourse from the court. However, he argued that when litigation is used to stop the investigation amid uncovering the truth, it raises a red flag. We're very concerned about that because that means it is a duly established entity. A commission of parliament cannot continue to work because of court action, he observed, indicating that he was not referencing any particular government agency. Beresford reasoned that after a probe is completed and a report tabled in Parliament, everyone who wishes to challenge the conclusion and finding can always approach the court at that time. There is not in any way reference to particular matters that is before the court. It's just a principle. We just want to be able to complete our investigation unimpeded and let them, the chip falls where they may lie. Beresford says, when a whistleblower makes a complaint to the IC, the agency have a duty to investigate the matter. We have not said anything yet, so as it stands, all we would want is for public bodies to allow us to do our job and come to a conclusion. According to him, an investigation may ultimately determine that no wrongdoing occurs, but premature court intervention forces the use of taxpayers' money on legal fee. At the end of the day, we would want to be allowed to discharge our mandate. Can you imagine if every complaint we get, someone decide to stop it in between? He questioned. Beresford warned that such action could lead to prolonged legal battles between state entities over probe that have not been yet concluded, further draining public resources. On December 14, 2025, Sunday Gleaner reported that the Spectrum Management Authority has taken the IC to court to challenge the legal basis for an investigation, accusing the anti-corruption agency of acting illegally and abusing its powers. The IC rejected the claim and expressed concern that evidence could be destroyed. Subsequently, on December 2022, the Supreme Court granted the Spectrum Management Authority and its managing director, Dr. Maria Myers Hamilton, permission to seek judicial review of two notices related to the IC ongoing investigation. The court also issued interim injunction preventing the commission from continuing the probe using the disputed notice and a witness summon. However, the court denied the Spectrum Management Authority requests for several additional orders, including the return of items seized during the IC investigation. So, I hope you understand that the IC is saying public officials and agencies are using the courts to prevent them from carrying out the well-needed investigation that they need to carry out to tell us about our money, or to tell us whether government can, public officials and politicians, Gloria Morris, how you the Sharon Bernard, how you the Wagwan, can prove to us that their riches is not through illicit means. You would understand how that worked for Andrew, how it is working for Darrell Vass's department. And there are others who are taking them to court. You remember Norman Brown also tried the same thing as well, though he took my advice and withdrew. But the IC, as it stands, it is a good agency. It doesn't have the power, though, to really work within the system that we have. It is not strong enough. It doesn't have the proper tools for me that we need in our country to clobber politicians. To those of our globalists in North America and everybody in North America, we understand what you're going through. A storm is a storm. Yours is in a different way. But right across North America, people are going through some very tumultuous weather. But stick it out. It won't, maybe long, but certainly won't be forever. Now, PNP, when you muscle up on yourself, because when may go attack now. PNP, the run come at the front of the line for no beating. We're going to hear from Mr. Golden. And then after Mr. Golden speaks, after Mr. Golden speak,
Greetings, Jamaica.
should we give Mr. Golden tonight? Because I don't know, every politician we tackle over here gets a name. So for the purpose of tonight, Mark Golden is Patricia Wentworth. Mark Golden, for the purpose of tonight, is Patricia Wentworth. Take it away, Patricia.
Greetings, Jamaica. Today I want to speak to you about some important issues of governance that are topical at the present time and that I'm finding troubling. There's a whole question of the bureaucracy and the integrity of Jamaica's civil service. Now, the position of permanent secretary is the senior position in the civil service in any ministry. It is a permanent post for the career of that person, that officer who's appointed. That's why it's called permanent secretary. That person runs the ministry from an administrative perspective, from government to government, whichever party forms the government. So it's very important, and it is the tradition and the convention in our system that permanent secretaries are independent, non-partisan, non-political, above reproach. Now, the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Energy, Telecommunications and Transport retired effective December last year. And a new person has been appointed as the permanent secretary. That person is Khadijah Campbell Rochester. Now, Mrs. Campbell Rochester formerly was in charge at the Constituency Development Fund unit within the Office of the Prime Minister. But she is somebody who has had a close association with an MP. In fact, the MP is Andrew Holness, Prime Minister. She was the director of his NGO, his non-profit, Positive Jamaica Foundation, which was called up in the Integrity Commission report on his affairs. She was also, I believe, a director of the West Central St. Andrew Trust, another NGO that he has in relation to his constituency. How can it be right that somebody that is so closely involved in the governance of the arrangements, or was so closely involved in the governance of the arrangements for somebody's constituency, being appointed a permanent secretary in the civil service? It doesn't look right to me, and I'm bringing it to your attention. Of course, there's the broader question of the wife of the head of government, the wife of the prime minister, being appointed the umpire of the affairs of parliament, the legislature, as Speaker of the House. Again, how can that be right? The tradition in our system of government is that the Speaker is an independent person. Even if they come from one side or the other, they are supposed to act impartially and independently to ensure even-handedness and fairness in the conduct of parliamentary affairs. How can it be right that the wife of the head of government, the Prime Minister's wife, is the umpire in Parliament in the form of the Speaker? We objected to this strongly when the decision was announced that she was going to be reappointed Speaker after the last election. Despite our objections, the appointment went ahead. Again, it doesn't look right. It isn't really consistent with the way in which the Westminster system of democracy, which is what we adhere to, ought to function. The last point I want to address is this JPS $150 million loan. Now, we, all of us, want to see electricity restored to all Jamaicans as quickly as possible after Melissa. And I express my sympathies for anyone who is still without electricity. We had raised the question, though, because the minister came to Parliament in December and said that the funding required to restore the grid was 350 million US dollars at least. And yet the amount of money that the government was going to provide was 150 million US. Now, remember, the government's a 20% shareholder in JPS. The other 80% is owned by two overseas companies, Marubeni of Japan, East West Power of South Korea. They weren't putting any money up for the restoration because the minister had given a notice earlier in 2025 saying that their license is coming to an end and wouldn't be renewed in 2027. So they didn't have any security that they would still be in charge of Jamaica's electricity grid come 2027, and they weren't going to put up any money without any security. So the government was putting up money far beyond its 20%, but still at least $200 million less than the minister told us was needed to fix the grid. We asked him, how is it a good idea to put some funding in without knowing how the necessary amount would be reached and obtained? He never answered that question. I asked him again on Tuesday. Again, he dodged the question. And I'm saying a matter as fundamental as this, where government's resources, which is really the proceeds of the catastrophe bond, 150 million, has been lent to company JPS that Jamaica owns 20% of, in a scenario where we're told that the necessary resources to do the job is 350 million, so it's not even half of what's required. How is it a good idea to proceed without explaining how you're going to finance the full restoration project? Who is not going to have their light restored because the money can't stretch to what is needed? These questions have never been answered, despite how important this issue is to Jamaica at this time. Again, not good governance, people. We need to be vigilant. We need to stay on our toes because things are going in a direction that suggests that we have concerns that we must be vigilant about. Over to you.
Leading from way, way behind. Let me ask Darrell Vaz a question first before I turn to Mark Golden. Could it be, Darrell Vaz, that because you refuse to extend JPS license, they are saying if you want electricity sooner than summer of 2026, you, Jamaica, the people of Jamaica, will have to put up the money because we will not risk our capital? Could it be, Darrell Vaz? That's the question. No, to Patricia Wentworth. Barring the issue you raise about JPS, which you all tackled in and out of Parliament, the Johnny come lately ism. This is an issue that I have with Mark Golden's leadership for the last 2-3 years. When the iron is hot, Mark Golden does not strike. Mark Golden for the last 2-3 years have been leading behind vloggers. Mark Golden will wait for a week, 2 or 3 until we out here beat the drum and carry on. Then Mark Golden turn up. That's not a leadership deserving for the level of corruption, lack of government financial embezzlement, lack of transparency, nowhere integrity to be found. That's not robust leadership from the opposition leader. Turning up how much it is after we out here a badger away about these things. We're not getting value for money on either side of the coin, neither from government or from opposition. Vigilant, Mark Golden, is that the only thing that the opposition can do? What about taking the people to the street as the opposition leader? You did it on the Dennis Chung issue. Why not, Mark Golden, lead from the front in a protest against the health debacle in our country? Why not lead from the front, Mark Golden, in a protest against the financial embezzlement in our country? Leading from behind, Mark Golden, will not get us too far, if anywhere. I am fed up of this leading from behind with the opposition leader. These things are things that you ought to be on your toe about, Mark Golden, as soon as the iron hot you strike. Why we have to out here and do the job as broadcasters while uno wait and wait until uno sister we get tired? That's not what we paid for. The job of the opposition is to expose the government, is to call out the government. Is the People's National Party doing a great job of exposing government corruption? Bar Dr. Dawes at the moment. Who is doing any exposure? Norman, how you do? Miranda. Barring Dr. Dawes at the moment, who really are doing exposure about and about here? The PNP cannot continue to lead from the back. Mark Golden cannot continue to lead from behind vloggers. Mark Golden can't make vloggers out here and fight the anti-corruption bandwagon, and then they just turn up when they want to with a little fancy speech. Where is the rebel and the rebellion in the party? Where is the rebellism and the rebellionism that social democracy was born out of? Where is the non-compliance to oppression that social democracy and socialism was born out of? Where is the standing against the greed that socialism was born out of? But are you a real socialist, though, is the question, Mark Golden. Are you not just the same capitalist as the labor them, where it's about my private interests rather than the public good? Me not happy with this year leadership here. This year, thank you, galangin. Why is it that we could demonstrate against Dennis Chung, but we can't demonstrate against Christoph Dan? Why is it that Andrew Holness used to go around and take picture and post up of the state of the hospital and thing when him a try bring down Portia Simpson government? Why nobody now help Dr. Dawes? Why PNP now fight this war as a conglomerate? Dr. Dawes put out how much a series, and we don't see the PNP them come out, come have a mass press conference. We don't see the PNP them out there cry for national outrage. Dr. Dawes is left on his own to fight one of the worst battles we ever have to take on for this guy. Oh, we can't allow them to thief the money, you know. But when it comes to health, this is the thing we all we should fight. Because when we go to hospital, there's not a Labour and PNP list there. As you heard, the senior, the head of nursing or head of nursing union tell you, it's about who hold up their hand and who for hand the nurse. It's about who hold up their hand and who for hand the nurse. Why everybody silence pan the worst debacle we will ever have in our country? From Dr. Roger Hunter come out and tell we set up than a killer 15,000 now, there should be an outrage. Look on the amount of information Dr. Dawes put out. No outrage from the opposition, no outrage from the people of Jamaica. Everybody want dead in a piece and very expensively. All I don't want the expensive funeral. I don't want dead, I don't want the big setup. I don't want the cow kill and the goat kill and the how much fowl and fish. You know rather that? Mongo demonstrate and turn up out of Ministry of Health, turn up out of the hospital them, sit down on the yard and tell government say on naga work until something better is done. All I know prepare for is the big expensive funeral them. And who the money will go back to? The same people them we are killing off and share and part in there. But nobody now wants to stand up. And everybody I hope they get. What a craziness though. What a crazy scenario. You want better, but you're not prepared to do anything other than wait for it to become better. Can you understand how stupid that is? You want it to be better. You wouldn't even lend your voice. Not even your voice. You would be prepared to lend to achieve better. But you still hope for better. Hope without works. Hope without work. And see where I go reach. And where I go here now. But me tired of the opposition. Me tired of the opposition because they're not opposing. They're just having fancy talks. They're having fancy talks. They're not opposing. And we are left in the deluge and detriment. This government will can collect so much money. And we don't see people them are getting any help. Everything just a fall apart round way. Everything just a get worse round way. And the opposition look like they're in collusion. The opposition look like they're in
Community in Jamaica
collusion
has donated.
with the government. There's so much. We're tired to hear how much give and donated to a country. But we don't see the people that are getting no benefits. When World Food Program lists the money, what the people them forget. The World Food Program give 3 listing: 20,000, 35,000, and 50,000 Jamaica dollar. Andrew turn out into a one-off solidarity, $20,000. And on the outer Andrew packet it a come out. And on a one-off, it did for pay. It's 2 separate payments. Like over a 2-month period. The same Andrew Holness will say, Jamaicans will run to Jamaicans' rescue and make Jamaicans look bad. You would have seen the crowd in a Westmoreland to register for the $20,000. $20,000 in a Jamaica. A school picking a pocket money for the week. 20,000 Jamaican dollars is pocket money for school children for the week. That's where Andrew Holness, how we are crowd up and a sweat in a sun over. Yeah, like just like that. Sweetie money. Ice cement and ice cream money. I wonder if Andrew see the crowd down at Westmoreland and how indignified Andrew Holness ministry treat Jamaican people when I never even saw what's him call it, World Food Program say for you. Because if Pernell Charles for the last 3 months we're going around doing all these assessments, Pernell Charles not capture the people them that were to be captured for the money distributed to them. Why they have to come do another mass registration again? Me not understand the whole heap of hold up paperwork and bureaucracy. Because you see, paperwork in Jamaica only exists when it concerns us getting any benefit from with taxpayer money. But when Floyd Green are thiefy, when Tufton are thiefy, when Pernell Charles are thiefy, when Darrell Vaz are thiefy, when Andrew Holness are thiefy, there's no paper trail. Hmm? There is no paper trail when them are thief. But if we forget little crumbs we fall off of the table, you have to go through a lengthy barrage of paperwork before you get any assistance. But in the case of Floyd Green, $870 million worth of paper trail just goes up like a butter against sun.
Muslim community in Jamaica has donated $40 million in medical supplies to the health sector. The assistance comes as hospitals continue to buckle under the strain of overcrowding. The items include critical equipment that have been in demand since Hurricane Melissa hit. Facilities like the Mandeville Regional and St. Anne's Bay hospitals have been struggling to keep pace with the influx of patients from neighboring parishes since Hurricane Melissa. While it may take several more months before normality is restored at most hospitals across the island, the Muslim community has taken quick action to help bridge some of the gaps.
We have accepted containers from overseas partners like Helping Hands. Today, we have one of the containers from Helping Hands, which has medical relief items within it. The value of those items is about $40 million. We intend to bring these items and distribute them to the hospitals across the island.
Special focus will be placed on hospitals in the most affected areas, as well as those that have become overwhelmed by patient transfers. So as soon as a container was opened on Saturday, members of the Portmore Islamic Center and several volunteers started distributing items to representatives from the St. Anne's Bay and Port Maria hospitals.
In the medical container that we are currently sorting, we have many forms of equipment like electric beds, we have an ultrasound machine, we have incubators, we have ventilators, we have infant warmers, among many other disposables that are typically used in the hospital.
So everything is being loaded in the bus. I guess if they had bought a bigger truck, they will be getting more items. So we're hoping for them to come with bigger vehicles to get these items that are here.
Head coordinator for hurricane relief at the Portmore Islamic Center, Karima Munsi, told TVJ News that the community has realized that the needs across the hospitals are great, and so there are plans to do more.
If we didn't start this, we would know the needs of the hospital. So we're hoping to continue with Helping Hands to supply nebulizers and different equipment for the hospitals.
She said following consultations with several hospitals, she was informed that there is an increased demand for more treatment for asthmatic patients.
Simple things like asthmatic drugs. I am asthmatic, and I really think that asthmatics should always be treated as emergencies. As simple things like nebulizers, we know that we'll be on a campaign after this, hoping that we can get nebulizers to all hospitals.
So there are help coming to the healthcare, but we know there's a usual practice within our healthcare of our own politician try to block those assistance because them not get benefit from it. Let's see how this pans out. In the future, I'm going to talk further about Jabem. Is it Jabem? No, not. What's the foundation again? I've been the ambulance. What's the name of those people again? Is it Jabem Foundation? No, it's not Jabem. it's something another foundation, but they have an ambulance service in Jamaica. And I think they do other relief as well. But more people, more diasporans want to come on board with assisting Jamaica with medical supplies and all of that. But the blockade they would meet within the Ministry of Health when it comes to getting these things into the country, because to say, if the middleman and the henchman them now get for them cut or for them thing, then they tied you up in lengthy bureaucracy or lengthy put off till you even get fed up and have no interest in assisting anymore. A lot of the supplies them come in, they get sold as well rather than used for the purpose. And we remember that situation of that ambulance that came from Canada, and they give the people all sort of fight to clear it until it was cleared, and I want to feed them private friend have a run private ambulance service, and it wasn't used for the purpose of Jamaicans as was intended. So we know, sir, we have these crises. But Christopher Tufton disgracefully come out and talk about work on the way to ease the overcrowding at Cornwall Regional Hospital. Oh, you are going to release the overcrowding. Where you going to put one more container there? Because Cornwall Regional for the last 8 years, Tufton, is a white elephant. Is a white elephant for the last 8 years. We're just that they are drink money, so and there's no end in sight. It's still a refugee. It's still a makeshift hospital in a refugee camp, Christopher Tufton. So me don't know where you talk about increasing space and capacity. Where you go get it from? Why you don't ask one of an international partner? The couple field hospitals, one can go use down a Cornwall for increased space. Because that might be the quickest and easiest thing. That might be the quickest and easiest thing. So Christopher Tufton, come now and come tell we both work is on the way to ease overcrowding. Why has it gotten to this, Christopher Tufton? How could you, in 10 years, have a lower health care to run down to the point where doctor step over patient on floor? And the report come out now, and you come tell we literally every. And there's no outrage in the country. Labour right think Dr. Tufton is doing fine. Are just the nasty PNP them, because they like to call us the nasty PNP them, you know. I'm never going to talk call me PNP. You better no know me a PNP. Me know myself as a Jamaican. You understand? Jamaican, me know myself as. I know myself as not PNP, because I wouldn't want to be as cold as PNP right now. I wouldn't want to be as compromised as PNP right now. Me a Jamaican, all right?
Despite assurances from the health minister that infrastructure upgrades are coming, the Nurses Association of Jamaica says it's still waiting to see real action. The association's president, Dawn Marie Richards, says in addition to worsening conditions, nurses are being verbally abused by patients and their relatives.
I ask the members of the public to be patient with the nurses when they go into these overcrowded spaces, because the challenges that they are facing are not directly related to nursing. Nurses have we don't have any control over providing bed space and physical space for clients to work, to be in. We don't have the control over providing equipment to utilize on persons. So we're asking people to be patient with the nurses when they go into these spaces.
At the same time, she says while nurse migration continues to affect the health sector, the exodus is not as severe as in previous years. Even so, the NHA president warns that without urgent and meaningful intervention, the conditions driving nurses away will persist.
The issue of nurse migration continues to be a concern, but we don't have much control over that. We look at the changes that are taking place in immigration practices across the US, and that in itself may be posing a challenge, but I know that persons are still processing.
And we're going to go back to that interview she had on all angles. Or Nurses Jamaica, or health professional is crying for help. Or health professionals is crying out for help. At what point, the question is, will the people of Jamaica who are at the receiving end of the lack of
overcrowding is really concerning for us,
who is at the receiving end of the lack of from government, or the brutal treatment that we face sometimes from overwork, underpaid, understaffed, tired, miserable, working without nothing at their wit end health professionals. When is it, at what point, we the people of Jamaica is going to come on board to assist our health professional in calling for better treatment across the board? Better treatment to our healthcare professional from the government and the powers that be. That better treatment will trickle down to us, who is at the finishing end of the healthcare debacle. Let's remind you of what the president of the Nursing Association says.
overcrowding is really concerning for us because it speaks to the dignity of individuals. And, you know, when I went to that facility yesterday and I walked into the refashioned A&E, I was shocked.
This is at the Mount Salem Community Center, I think it is.
Yes, it is.
Tell us what shocked you.
So this facility was refashioned to facilitate 3940 clients. They had 115 in it yesterday. And it's hard for you to really care, give any kind of care. You know, one of the questions I asked one nurse, I said, how do you prioritize who gets care and who doesn't? They say it's not a matter of priority, Madam P. We just stand up and look and who put up their hand. So I said, what about the people who can't put up their hand? So, you know, in a system like that, people are going to get left behind. One of the challenges
Sorry, tell me what you mean, though, because I know normally what you healthcare workers do is what they call triage, right? You go through and...
So it's the persons who we are seeing are after triage.
Okay, got it.
They're after triage. And the major issue is that there's no bed space for admission.
Right.
So the persons that are in the space, maybe 80-90% of them are actually for admission. But there's nowhere to put them. Cornwall Regional is a 300-bed facility. They would have lost the use of about 147 beds after Melissa so based on damage to infrastructure. So, you know, that further compounds a situation that already existed. The whole story of seeing people on stretchers that are at floor level is harsh. You see people on beach beds, beach chairs. Those are the things that persons are being nursed on. I saw one situation where a client was, they wanted to set up.
You see how the president of the Nursing Association of Jamaica just looked like she's just out of space. She's talking, she's telling you about, I'm not even really here.
IV on a client, and the doctor was stretching over 2 other persons to reach to that person. What is it that you use to motivate yourself to come here every day? And they say it's their call to serve. So you have three stretchers here, and then you have 4 chairs here, and then you have some more stretchers here, and it's just untenable. It really is untenable. I asked the nurses, what is it that you use to motivate yourself to come here every day? And they say it's their call to serve. It's, you know, you have that call, you come out, and you do your best for that day. And when you go home and you deal with the rest when you come back the next day.
Let me just bring in Dr. Badger, because you've been talking to your doctors there as well. And one of the things you were quoted in the Gleaner saying is that these are things that you've been trying to engage on. You said you repeated efforts had been made to engage hospital management and the Ministry of Health and Wellness, including formal correspondence to the minister last year, but issues remain unresolved. Tell us, first of all, what you are hearing and seeing from your doctors.
Hi, thanks for having me, and good night, everyone. Our doctors have been absolutely disheartened, and you can imagine, and as Nurse Richards actually spoke about, with regards to the dignity of the patient that's severely compromised. I don't know if you know what it's like to resuscitate a patient on the ground. To me, that's unfathomable. And
meaning somebody whose heart has stopped, or
someone whose heart stopped, and you have to be pumping the chest in CPR on the ground.
Our health professionals are crying out for help. I've been a how you do. Refresh to excellence, Wagwan. Our health professionals are crying out for help. At what point Jamaicans will become involved in this cry for help? This cry for help, this crisis is taking a lot of Jamaicans' lives. This health crisis is taking a lot of us lives. And we sit down and we continue to protect these corrupt politicians. We continue to protect these corrupt politicians. No. From left to right, where we go? From left to right, where we go? From left to right, these 5 guys have been bleeding our public purse. Floyd Green has just been caught. He who was acting clean and decent now has his hands tarnished in the taxpayer's pocket to the tune of $870 million from the Agricultural Department. Another $65 million in asset. Just pick up upon itself and walk out a rather so. Just gone so. But again, son, fertilizer are selling a shop. Fertilizer is being given away to fishermen in order to vote for the minister. Darrell Vaz, next to Floyd Green, took 1.4 billion of Jamaica taxpayers' dollar to purchase second-hand derelict parked out-of-use buses from America that turn out to be dollar per bus, $110 US plus shipping fee, cost the people of Jamaica $1.4 billion. And then Darrell Vaz brought his friends along with him. You know, the Lecker Stewartses, the Stuart Motorses, that makes an awful lot of money out of the taxpayer's pocket with Darrell Vaz financial embezzlement of the public purse, another 100 million for carrying linesman and what's it or rather else. Our public purse is being bled. Let's jump over the Prime Minister. You have to leave the best for last, don't you? $80 million worth of front. $80 million worth of front. Bad rice. 32 dead babies. Almost $1 billion embezzled from the health fund. 15,000 Jamaicans per year killed by the minister running of the health department. A hospital, the country's university hospital, the country's teaching hospital, the Caribbean Referral Hospital has gone rogue, run into the ground by the minister and his classmate. You really couldn't make up these as scandals, even if you try. They're just our reality. Even if you try to make them up as a scandal, you will have to remind yourself, but top, and a Jamaica people reality that day. I mean, we pay $80 million for front. Front. I mean, where you can't go back road, go buy for chicken back price, if you ask me. But when it comes to the Minister of Health and his night bikes, we have to pay expensively. And then we go to the JLP Melvin Spence, a born thief. Learn from the best. Learn from daddy. You remember Colonel Charles' department in last year's report. Just to give $500,000 so left, right, center to the tune where $700 million in last year's Integrity Commission report. $700 million in Colonel Charles's department where no trail or trace. Bail extended for SSL. Yeah, it's white justice, isn't it? So what would you expect? Have you not seen white justice on bail while black justice is behind bars? Are you not following? Miranda, it's white justice and black justice, you know. Black justice is behind bars while white justice is on bail for the same fraud that brought down a financial investment institution. Couldn't make it up as a scandal. It's just our reality. Back to Melvin Spence. Melvin Spence, who learned from the daddy, is just the young thief doing worse than what the old thief does. Because these new age politicians, they steal with impunity. They call it governance, but it is organized theft. What they call governance in our country is organized criminality. They may see it a different way. But for a lot of us, what we are seeing from mastership in our country, because our country lacks leadership, what we have is mastership. Our budget is run by organized thieves. I mean, a lot of the money that is coming in via Melissa, these people has their hands all over it. Clyde Green is getting a lot for the agriculture and all that industry. You might get the Southwest Centers better and keep quiet about it. Darrell Vaz, take with insurance money, get JPS. Tufton just did a drink money like a white rum so. And a lot of these donations that comes into the country, Pernell Charles, the younger daughter of Pernell Charles Sr., is in charge of these money, or have an awful lot. The World Food Program money that is being misappropriated because World Food Program stipulates 3 different criteria. And we are only seeing 1 criteria from the government, the minimum criteria set out by World Food Program, the $20,000. Then to Father Pickles, I mean, you would have to hire a flatbed truck and a crane to carry home for Andrew money. He who became so rich till it became investigation, court case, and the national disgrace of a leader. A national disgrace of a leader. Over $3 billion missing from our national budget, which none of you thieves, criminals, crooks are unable to explain to us. And to top it off, you all want us to call you honorable, most honorable. How could you? Honorable, most honorable. The question we are asking though, why on earth is Jamaicans so silenced? Where on earth is the outrage from Jamaicans? At what point will Jamaicans say, enough of this motherfuckery? Enough. But so far as it stands, and as we have shown to our masters, there's an awful lot more that we are prepared to tolerate. It's the reason for the silence, you see. We are able to tolerate more. Drink the poison. I mean, what's the big funeral, holy pan or wait? Oh, no, love big funeral. What a way if someone could have done a funeral or a set up Fi see how uno suffer, but uno funeral and uno setup never suffer. What a way. Hmm? If someone who could have just done a funeral, when that's someone if you take care of yourself because you've been treated better in death than you were in life.
Vex with me, so come close and listen to me carefully.
What's up, guys? Check out the video.
Jamaica, today uno going vex with me, so come close and listen to me carefully. Let me say this plainly so nobody don't misunderstand me. This is not a healthcare crisis. This is a national surrender. Jamaica, billions of dollars are being announced, bragged about, paraded in budget speeches. And at the same time, nurses are stepping over bodies at Cornwall Regional Hospital. And if that does not shake you, Jamaica, you are already numb. The government of Jamaica say they've invested billions. The Minister of Health says major renovations. And the Prime Minister says progress. But nurses are outside protesting because there are no beds, no chairs, no space. Jamaica, no dignity. Patients on floors, people waiting hours in pain, and emergency rooms packed like cages. So I'm going to ask you, Jamaica, a very simple question that nobody wants to answer. Where did the money go? Because Jamaica, you don't spend billions and end up with this. You don't renovate and end up with decay. You don't renovate and end up with protest. Jamaica, that math is not mathing. And please do not insult our intelligence with hurricanes and timelines or the it takes time.
These are the most upsetting thing about how our politician talk to us. And this is why me have to rush them certain time, because them talk to we like we dunce and we never yet got school in our whole life. Them talk to we like we not understand them at all. Them talk to we in a very insulting way and talk like where Johnny come lately, we just come, we learn, we don't know about, and once them say it, we have to accept it. These are the way in which they speak to us. But how are them two girls are there? Who are these two little girls? There, but there's a two little girl coming by my phone. Who are they? Let's continue to listen to Fifth Element.
Time speech. Jamaicans have been waiting for decades. And this system has been broken before any storms, before all the shortages, and before every excuse. So Jamaica, this is not about weather. This is about misplaced priorities and tolerated incompetence. Jamaica, let's be real. If this was a private hospital for the elites, this would never be allowed. Now, here is where I stop protecting feelings and no for uno I go vex with me. Only a few nurses stood up. You see the rest of Jamaica who has suffered and continue to suffer in these hospitals, they stayed quiet. No mass outrage, no public stand, no flood of people screaming enough is enough. And that, Jamaica, is the real emergency. Because now we are not just victims, we are willing participants. Yes, we have accepted the chair, we have accepted the floor, we have accepted the weight, and we dang sure have accepted the disrespect. And we say, at least it's free. Wanna just be grateful. I saw the thing set. It's just Jamaica. And that mindset, Jamaica, is what's unaliving us. Because Jamaica, you just don't die when the system fails us, you know. You die when we normalize that failure. So let me be brutally honest with you, Jamaica. Most of us Jamaicans did not join the nurses in the protests because we have accepted that this type of treatment and level of care is as good as it gets. We've been trained to endure instead of demand. We've been trained to survive instead of resist. And we've been trained to whisper instead of roaring. And while Jamaicans stay quiet, the system learns one thing. Yeah, man, they'll tolerate this. Now, every silent waiting room is permission. Every shrugged shoulder is approval. And every mind my business is a green light. Jamaica, this is not just about nurses alone. This is about all of us. Because today, it's the nurses protesting. And tomorrow, it's you, Jamaica, bleeding in a chair. It's your mother bleeding in a chair. It's your child bleeding in a chair. And don't fool yourself, Jamaica. No amount of money is going to save you when the system collapses. Not when there are no beds. Not when the staff is burnt out. And not when the infrastructure rots. So I am going to say this without any apology. A country that accepts inhumane health care and treatment is a country accepting its own demise. You see, the nurses that stood up, they were not extreme. They were just honest. And so the rest of us in Jamaica need to decide. Are we going to keep surviving quietly? Or are you going to finally admit that the system is unaliving us and silence is definitely?
No, man, me not hear nothing more about the rest of the school bus them. If the dollar bus them, if the rest of the dollar bus them reach. Yeah, Jabe Mills Beach. No, it's Jaja Foundation I am talking about. I've been just arrived, but I'll talk about Jaja Foundation another time. I need to pull some video on them. But we're calling on Mark Golden and the entire PNP to organize and lead a national protest against the healthcare crisis in our country. We demand, we the people of Jamaica demand such representation from Mark Golden and the People's National Party. We demand full unity against the government. We don't want to hear single voices from the PNP. We want to hear a united front as they were months ago in the general election campaign. We want to see the fire in the belly of the PNP that they had only months ago that gave them 100% increase at the poll. We're calling on Mark Golden to lead from the front, lead a national protest against Dr. Christopher Tufton. Dr. Christopher Tufton, or Christopher Tufton with the DR, or Tiffin Tufton, to be more accurate. Tiffin used taxpayer money to buy front. Tufton needs to go. Both Green and Tufton need to go because, as I've said, the Agriculture Department and the Health Department is contributing heavily to the deaths in our country. We're calling from the people and the People's National Party to lead from the front. We must restore health and agriculture in our country. Left to Floyd Green and Dr. Tufton, the deaths in our country will continue to multiply. Marcus Garvey told us, unite or perish. If you don't see the need to stand with the nurses and the doctors, then the parliament will be standing outside waiting for you. Thank you and good night from Global TV.
Too long in our little ghetto, road keep going on, less process for children of Israel do really love rights. So just as I and I as a watching man, I run Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I should never hold thy peace. What wrong is going on? Day or night, we gotta bust down Babylon walls. Prepare the way, prepare the way for your people. Let's go. Fight down war and crime, fight down. Me say Rastafari, war and crime, and do the righteousness. And we love, and we love Jaja, and we love Jaja,
Rastafari, save all people.
and we love Jaja, we love Jaja, we love Jaja.
Rastafari, preserve all people.
Put time away again. Listen, yeah. Just as I and I as a watching man, I run Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I and I should never hold thy peace, but we penalize day or night. We gonna bust down Babylon gates. Prepare the way, prepare the way for Rastafari. Fight down war and crime, fight down war and crime. Rastafari, war and crime, and build up righteousness. And we love Jah, and we love Jah, and we love Jah,
Rastafari, preserve all.
and we love Jah, me love Jah, me love Jah,
Rastafari, preserve all.
me love Jah, Rastafari. Yeah, the next song is going to be the last song for tonight, and then DJ Twink.
Just before me go, Kevin Blake still a continue the fight. Kevin Blake appeal, you know, the court did ruled block Kevin Galangin the other day where him remove Wayne Cameron from work. The court did block that so Wayne Cameron could go back at work while things are going. Kevin Blake now appealed against that. So let's see how the court will rule on that. See you in the morning. In the morning, we'll look at that Gleaner article. Bye-bye.
If you don't like missing out on the latest shows but still enjoy classic hits, then Global TV Group 358 is your perfect match. Global TV Group 358 isn't just another channel, it's your ultimate TV experience. From breaking news to binge-worthy dramas and timeless classics, we've got it all. Our unique blend of original content and global favorites means there's something for everyone. And guess what? With GTVG's seamless streaming, you can watch anywhere, anytime. Plus, our interactive features let you be part of the action. So, whether you're a seasoned binge watcher or a casual viewer, Global TV Group 358 is here to keep you entertained day and night. Don't just watch TV, experience it with Global TV Group 358. Subscribe now and never miss a moment.